Okay, let's talk college admissions. If you think getting into a top-tier school is still about having perfect grades, playing a sport, and doing a little volunteering, you might be playing by some seriously old rules. Today, we're going to break down the new playbook, what the best universities are really looking for. So let's get right into it.
For so long, this whole process has felt like a giant checklist, right? Get the grades, join the clubs, check, check, check. But here's the thing, top schools get thousands of applicants who've checked every single box. They're drowning in perfect transcripts. They're not looking for more of the same. They're looking for something different, something deeper that you just can't squeeze onto a resume.
So if it's not about the checklist, then what is it about? Well, the new role, the big secret, is all about finding and showing off a student's essence. That's the word. And this is what takes an application from just good to wow, we have to meet this person. It's a huge shift, really. It's moving away from just what you've done to the much more important question of who you are. Okay, so essence. What does that even mean? It sounds a little vague, right? But it's actually pretty simple. It's this unique mix of who your child is, what they genuinely care about, and, this is key, what they've actually done to make their community a little bit better. To make this super clear, we're going to look at two amazing examples, Isabella and Isaac. They're going to be our case studies. All right, first things first, we need to bust a massive myth. For decades, parents have been told the goal is to raise a well-rounded student, someone who's pretty good at a little bit of everything. Well, I'm here to tell you that advice is dead. It's over. Top schools aren't trying to build a class of generalists. They're building a team of specialists. They're looking for a spike. So think about it. The old well-rounded model, it kind of created masters of none, right? The new model is what we call the T-shaped student. Picture the letter T. That horizontal bar at the top, that's your broad competence, knowing a little about a lot of things. But that vertical line, the one that goes deep, that's the spike. That's your deep, sharp expertise in one thing. And we're not talking about just listing a bunch of activities. We're talking about a genuine obsession that leads to real, tangible impact. So let's go back to Isabella. Her spike wasn't just one thing, like coding club. No way. Hers was at this really cool intersection of two different fields, neurodiversity advocacy and technology. She mashed them together. And by doing that, she created this totally unique profile for herself. She became a social entrepreneur who uses tech to solve real problems for people. And then you've got Isaac, whose spike is completely different, but just as powerful. He built a bridge between the humanities and STEM, two worlds that don't always talk to each other. He took his love for marginalized history and combined it with computer science. And what was the result? He became this incredible innovator using AI to tell forgotten stories. That kind of thinking, that cross-disciplinary spark, is exactly what top schools are dying to find. So here's the big takeaway for parents, and this is so important. Stop stressing about turning that B in chemistry into an A. Seriously. Instead, find that one thing your kid is genuinely, maybe even weirdly obsessed with. That's their unique strength. And your job is to pour gasoline on that fire. Help them dig deeper and go further than anyone else. Okay, so having a spike is great. But, a spike is kind of useless if it's just a passive interest. And that brings us to our next big idea, the builder's mindset. This is all about taking action, about having agency. Look, the most impressive students, they don't just join clubs, they build something from scratch. I want you to really let this sink in. This is probably the most important question an admissions officer is asking themselves when they read an application. It's simple. If this student wasn't there, would this thing, this club, this project, this movement, even exist? If the answer is no, if they truly created something from nothing, that shows incredible initiative. It's the difference between just showing up and actually creating. We call it the 0 to 1 mindset. Isabella's story is a perfect example of this. She didn't just sign up to volunteer somewhere. No, she saw a real problem in her community. So what did she do? She founded her own initiative, Sends In Inclusion, to try and fix it. But then, and this is the amazing part, she took it even further. She used her tech skills to actually build a product, these sense buds that offered a real-world solution. That, right there, is the builder's mindset in action. And Isaac's journey proves that building doesn't always mean starting a company or making a physical thing. He saw an intellectual gap. He realized that important stories were missing from his history books, so he built a solution. He created his own curriculum, called Unfold for All. And then he scaled his message by starting a podcast and even publishing research papers. He literally built an entire educational platform, all born from his own curiosity. Okay, so you have the spike and you have the builder's mindset. But these pieces can't just be scattered around the application like random puzzle pieces. They have to fit together perfectly to tell one single cohesive story. Think about it. Admissions officers are reading thousands of these things. They don't remember a list of activities. They remember a great story. Look at Isabella and Isaac. For both of them, every single thing on their application points back to their core identity. For Isabella, the nonprofit, the business, the research, it all screams tech changemaker. Same for Isaac. His research, his AI projects, they all ladder up to this one clear persona, the interdisciplinary innovator. The bottom line is, in a winning application, nothing feels random. It all connects. All right, so that's the big picture philosophy. But you're probably wondering, okay, how do we actually do this? Well, it's not something you can just wing in senior year. It takes a real strategic roadmap, a plan that you start thinking about in freshman year, and that builds momentum over all 4 years. You can think of the whole journey like a funnel that gets more and more focused over time. You start super broad in middle school, just exploring everything, trying to find that little seed of an interest. Then, in 9th and 10th grade, it's about experimentation. You pick 1 or 2 of those interests and you go deep, maybe start a small project. And then finally, 11th and 12th grade, that's when you hit the accelerator. That's all about scaling your impact, taking that small project from local to regional or even national. It's about getting real results. Now, here is a really critical, maybe even a little counterintuitive strategy for you, a real game changer. Get the SAT or ACT and those core AP exams done early. I'm talking 9th or 10th grade. Why? Because it completely clears the deck for junior year. While all their friends are completely stressed out, buried in test prep books, your child has their entire junior year free to focus on what actually moves the needle, scaling their project and building out that incredible spike. This gives them a massive, massive advantage. And let me leave you with one final crucial warning. Do not fall into the conformity trap. It is so easy to just do what everyone else is doing, joining the same clubs, entering the same competitions, but top colleges have seen that a million times. They are not looking for another cookie-cutter applicant. I don't care how polished the resume is. The real goal here is to find an authentic passion and build something unique, something that only your child could build. So, I want to end by turning this question back to you. This isn't for your kid. It's for you. I want you to forget the checklist, forget what the kid down the street is doing. Just look at your child and ask yourself, what is their genuine obsession? What's that unique spark that gets them talking for hours? Find that, and then pour fuel on it. Because let's be honest, this isn't really just about getting into a good college. It's about helping them build a life that's full of purpose and impact. And that, right there, is the real playbook.